are sections 115 and 117 of the Criminal Justice Act 2006. They claim that guards can act as lawyers in the court. Guards can represent each other's evidence in the court. Superintendent can represent the evidence of 3 or 4 or 5 or as many of his underlings as he wants, out of his jurisdiction in the civil court. Now that offends so many precepts of law that it's ridiculous. That is a Medusa. That it's so corrupt and so ridiculous and has so many faces and so many points of contact, that it's so out of order. That it's just, it's like whack-a-mole. Every time you find something wrong with it, well, you find another thing wrong with it then straight away after. Something else pops up. It's so fundamentally corrupt, that section of the Criminal Justice Act 2006, that the fact that they haven't removed it means that they should be removed with immediate effect. It's inexcusably corrupt. Guards are not allowed in civil matters, let alone summonsing people to civil court. Guards are not allowed to represent each other's evidence, let alone representing a number of other guards' evidence. It's so far wrong that it's no wonder they're running from it with everything they've got in their legs. And it's just batten down the hatches stage with them. They're just letting the trail go cold. That's all it is with them. Let's see, double down, lads, batten down the hatches, anchor down. Let's see what happens. And that's what the stage they're at. But this is before the throne of God Most High, and He's immovable, and so am I. Immovable in the faith. So Jesus said, the one who draws back, I have no pleasure in him, and I have no intention of drawing back anytime soon. So, lest God call me. So I continue to expose this habitually, and continually, consistently, as is good form. So, presumptively constitutional is what they've put in place to create the illusion that one can be presuming on the evidence, such that they would command whatever they say. Because what does the criminal want? At the end of the day, the criminal wants to do his crime and not be accountable for it. And then it's even better if he can convince you that it's not a crime, isn't it? And that's what they did with the legislation. They're telling you that the president doesn't have to check the constitutionality of bills, which is his principal task, and they're telling you that the president is not accountable as a result of misconduct to be held before the courts of Ireland. So I ask you, whose president is he if he's not accountable to the courts of Ireland? What authority does he wield if not an authority that's subject to the law? You see the point? So the legislation creates the illusion and the facade that the president doesn't have to do his job, and when he fails to do his job or is found in misconduct, that he's not answerable to the courts of Ireland. See the point? That's just 2 points of treason. Now, you had nothing to do with the formation of those legislations, by the way. They were not arrived at democratically. These are Freemasons wiggling the pen once they get into office in the hope that nobody notices. Because Satan tries to cordon off the learned. Right? And if anybody has any scruples, he'll just wait till they die off or try and keep them out of the loop. That's who he is. A snake in the grass. So, the President of Ireland is tasked with the role of custodian of the Constitution. That means that he's not supposed to let anything into our writings that is against the law. That makes sense, doesn't it? That's pretty basic. You can't have somebody claiming to stand on the law who's letting stuff in against the law. It's called a criminal. So the President is now a criminal. The President is a criminal. The very description of a criminal. Somebody who's opposing the law. That's a criminal. There's no other take on it. It doesn't matter whether you're the one who's in government writing legislation. If that legislation opposes the law deliberately, you're a criminal and you should be in jail. It doesn't matter what office you pretend to hold. You're a criminal because you're opposing the law. And not just in one place accidentally, fundamentally, through legislation. Principally, you are offending the law. So then they say, well, the president, if he's found in misconduct, which we have found him in, is not accountable to the law of Ireland. Then, in the Court of Appeal in Ireland, they said, well, this should be considered presumptively constitutional. Well, what's presumptively constitutional? Nothing. Because you cannot presume on the evidence. If something is presumptively constitutional, that means that there's a lack of evidence to show that it is constitutional, which is basically claiming that the Constitution isn't available to remove the ambiguity about that legislation, which of course is fundamentally incorrect. So now the Government of Ireland have positioned legislation to create the illusion that they're acting with impunity when they oppose the Constitution of Ireland by failing to implement it. So that's treason and sedition, and you can be imprisoned for at least 40 years for such crime in Ireland. So I'm going to continue to bring that before you. I'm going to continue to tell you the truth on that consistently. I won't draw back on that, and I'll continue to bring it before God's throne, and He will do as He will with it. Blessings in Jesus' name. Just say it and believe it. Today Jesus is risen, Lord, and you can be rescued from an eternity of fire. Say it and believe it. Jesus is risen, Lord, and you can be saved from hell today. Blessings.